Hi, my name is Thomas, and I want to ask you something. What do you think is the lifeblood of the internet, or any online business for that matter? I mean, that thing that's so important and just as necessary as your heart beating right now. And you might say e-commerce. After all, in the seconds that it's taken you to look at this video, over $254 million have already changed hands through e-commerce. But e-commerce is only a byproduct of this internet lifeblood that I'm talking about. Without question, the lifeblood of the entire internet, my business, your business, and anybody else's, is traffic. I mean, flip the switch, overwhelming traffic on demand. And without the power of instant, unlimited traffic on demand, any online business, in fact, the entire internet, would die. So let's talk about what internet traffic has created and how it fuels the net. Money.cnn.com says that the internet's economy is larger than the Canadian economy. The article went on to say that in 2 decades, the internet has changed from a network for researchers and geeks to a day-to-day reality for billions of people. According to a Boston Consulting Group study, the internet accounted for $684 billion, or 4.7% of the United States economic activity in 2010. Now, just by way of comparison, the federal government contributed $625 billion, or 4.3% to the nation's output. Now, friends, that's a lot of money. A McKinsey Institute study tells us that over 2 billion people spend $8 trillion worldwide on the internet. And not only is the internet economy larger than Canada, it's also larger than the economy of Spain, and it's growing faster than Brazil. The internet accounted for 21% of gross domestic product growth in the world's largest economies over the last 5 years. And for every job that the internet eliminates, it creates 2.6 new jobs. Now, you're probably saying, well, yeah, Thomas, that sounds really impressive. But the million-dollar question is this: how can I make money with the data you're throwing around here? So let's drill down a little deeper and consider where the real money is being made online, who's silently raking it in, and how you can get a share of it. TheAtlantic.com published an article back in February, and it's entitled, "I'm Being Followed: How Google and 104 Other Companies Are Tracking Me on the Web." The subtitle goes on to say, who are these companies and what do they want from me? A voyage into the invisible business that funds the web. And I want to read a little bit of that article. It says, this morning, if you opened your browser and went to the NewYorkTimes.com, an amazing thing happened in the milliseconds between your click and when the news about North Korea and James Murdoch appeared on your screen. Data from this single visit was sent to 10 different companies, including Microsoft and Google subsidiaries. Nearly instantaneously, these companies can log your visit, place ads tailored to your eyes specifically, and add to the ever-growing online file about you. It goes on to say there's nothing necessarily sinister about the subterranean data exchange. This is, after all, the advertising ecosystem that supports free online content. And the data lets advertisers tune their ads, and the rest of the information logging lets them measure how well things are actually working. Now, to show you what this means and how it could produce passive income for you 24 hours a day, I want to tell you about a little add-on for the Firefox browser called Collusion. If you have a Firefox browser, you can replicate exactly what I'm about to show you. All I've done is edited this part of the video for the sake of time. After you visit a few sites with this add-on activated, you'll begin to see a screen very similar to this. But I'm going to clear the user interface and start from scratch just to show you what I mean. You can use any sites that you want, the sites that you normally visit, and you can perform this test for your own research. I've just picked a few that I frequent to show you what I'm talking about. First, I'll visit HuffingtonPost.com and I'll click on a few links, and then I'll go back to collusion. I'll click on it, and I see 5 sites that are already following me around the net. So next I'll visit the Wall Street Journal's website. I click on a couple links, and I'll check collusion again. Now you start to see an ever-growing web of sites just tagging along, going for the ride wherever I go. I'll now visit my local newspaper site, thestate.com. I'll read the latest news, sports, weather, the latest gossip and stuff like that. Now there's an even larger interlinking of sites just following me around the web. And finally, I'll visit fitness.com and I'll click on a few links. I'll go back to collusion and whoa, take a look at all the sites that are surfing right along with me, following me everywhere I go, every click and every move I make. So what's happening here? Well, there's a saying in marketing: as you surf the internet, if you are not buying a product, then you are the product being sold. You see, every time you visit a site, a cookie or a pixel tag is embedded in your web browser. And it doesn't matter which browser that you use. Now keep in mind that these companies are not doing anything dangerous to your computer, and none of your personal or financial data is ever collected. But in a fraction of a second between each click that you make, hundreds of companies are bidding money to win your attention. Based on what you're reading about and where you are surfing, these companies represent advertisers that may have some kind of product or service that you might be interested in. And it's all done with lightning speed and based on what you're reading about at the time. The more data that's collected on what you're doing, the more valuable you become to one or more advertisers. And between the time that you click off one page or one website and visit another, the more precisely these companies can determine what you might be interested in, what you might be reading about, what you might want to buy, or what you want to learn more information about. So how does all of this work to make money for you? Virtually automatically, consistently, 24 hours a day. Well, let me explain what I call the internet money cycle. And I'll see you on part 2, and I'll break it down for you. Thanks.